Hello and welcome to the 9 p.m. daily quiz. I hope all of you are doing good. I welcome you all to the session where we discuss the important news stories for the day from the prelims examination point of view, from different news sources, convert them into prelims specific questions, and then ask them right here. If you have made it a habit to come here every single day, I thank you all for being very regular here. If you have still not hit the subscribe button, please do hit that. It's been about 2 months or so that we have been doing these sessions. So, in case you have missed out on any of the earlier sessions, please do check out them as well. They can be extremely helpful for the prelims examination specifically. Also, if you're new here, just a bit of reminder that I also have my own Android app where I offer different types of courses depending upon whatever you're looking for. I run an optional course for PSIR, including PSIR answer writing test series as well. Apart from that, there are many other personal guidance programs for mains answer writing and prelims mentorship. You can download my app from the Google Play Store. The link to download the app is given in the description of this video. Let's begin with the first question then. Consider the following statements with regards to the Law Commission. 1. It is a non-statutory body and is constituted by a notification of the Government of India, Ministry of Law and Justice. Second, the first pre-independence law commission was established by the Charter Act of 1853. Third, the first law commission of independent India was established in 1955 under chairmanship of former Law Minister of India, M.C. Setalwad. How many of these are correct? The reason why we are discussing this is because the government has decided to establish a new law commission, and that is why it is relevant once again. It is not a statutory body, it is an executive body, means it is formed by a notification of the Government of India. So, first is correct. Second, the first pre independence law commission did not come into being after 1853, rather, it came into being after 1833 Charter Act. So, that is wrong. Third is also wrong. MC Setalwad was the commissioner of or was the chairman of the first law commission, but he was the first attorney general of India. He was not the law minister, he was the first and the longest serving attorney general of India so far. So the correct answer here is A. Only one of the three given statements here are correct. That is the first one. There's an article in the Indian Express newspaper about how the Union government has notified the constitution of 23rd Law Commission of India, which will come into effect or which had come into effect from 1st of September. The Law Commission will have a 3-year term. The tenure of the previous Law Commission, chaired by former Karnataka High Court Chief Justice Ritu Rajavasti, ended on 31st of August. Moving on to the second question. Saturn's rings will briefly disappear in March 2025. In that context, consider the following statements. Number one, Saturn won't lose its rings, but they will just be invisible from Earth and will reappear soon thereafter. Second, Saturn's axis of rotation has a 26.7-degree tilt, and its enormous ring system is also tilted to the plane of Saturn's orbit. Third, Saturn takes 39.5 years to complete an orbit around the Sun. Every 13 to 15 years, the edge of its rings align directly with the Earth. How many of these given statements is or are correct? Now, Saturn, as you know, is very well known, famous for its majestic rings. Scientists say that sometime next year in March, we would not be able to see the wings from Earth. They won't be disappearing, thus that they will be just parallel to our line of sight, and thus we will not be able to watch them from Earth. So they will appear or they will rather disappear. That will be a kind of a phenomena that will be seen in March 2025. With that respect, first and second are correct. Third statement is wrong. Saturn takes 29 and a half years. 29.5 years to complete an orbit around the Sun and not 39.5. And that is why the third statement is wrong. First and the second one are correct. The answer thus is B. Two of the given three statements are correct. Indian Express has carried this article today about why Saturn's majestic rings will briefly disappear in March 2025. Next, question number 3. Consider the following statements with regards to goods trade barometer. 1. The goods trade barometer was developed by WTO to complement conventional trade statistics and forecasts. Second, it is released on an annual basis based on the availability of data. Third, values higher than 100 indicates above trend growth and values less than 100 indicates below trend growth. How many of these are correct? WTO has this parameter called goods trade barometer that talks about the trade that is happening in goods specifically around the entire world. First is correct. Second is wrong. The data actually is released on a quarterly basis. Depending on availability of data, every quarter the WHO or WTO rather comes out with this barometer. Third is right. Reading of above 100 indicates above trend growth, while a reading below 100 indicates a below trend growth. The answer thus is B. Out of the three given statements, only two of these are correct. Again, it is the Indian Express newspaper that has this article today about WTO's goods trade barometer signals upturn in global trade, but uncertainty still remains. So, this is the barometer about the world's trade in goods. Next, question number 4. Consider the following statements with regards to vertical fiscal imbalance. 1. The problem of vertical fiscal imbalance falls under the purview of the Finance Commission. Second, on the revenue front, to maximize the efficiency of tax collection, the personal income tax, corporation tax, and part of indirect taxes are best collected by the union government. Third, but on the expenditure front, to maximize the efficiency of spending, publicly provided goods and services are best supplied by the tier of the government closest to its users. How many of these are correct? Now, fiscal imbalance or rather vertical fiscal imbalance has been a major cause of debate and concern in our politics right now. It mainly talks about how there are different financial powers with center and the state. While states have to make a lot of expenditure, their sources of revenue are limited and they are dependent mainly on the center government to provide them enough funds so that they have adequate money to spend on these schemes. And that is where this concept comes in. Finance Commission is the body that is supposed to look into this. They are the ones who are supposed to suggest to the center government how much money to be given to the states from their tax kitty so that they can make enough expenditure. So first is correct. Second and third are also correct. Most of the big taxes are collected by the center government, while most of the expenditure is usually made by the state government. That is why they are dependent on the money coming in from the center government for making these expenditures. The answer thus is C. All the three given statements here are correct. There's an article in the Hindu newspaper on this very topic called What is Vertical Fiscal Imbalance? Do read that in detail. Next, question number 5. Consider the following statements with regards to Loss and Damage Fund. 1. The Loss and Damage Fund was established in 2022 UNFCCC conference in UAE to provide financial support to regions suffering both economic and non-economic losses caused by climate change. Second, these include extreme weather events and slow onset processes such as rising sea levels. Third, the LDF is overseen by a governing board that determines how the fund's resources are to be disbursed, with the UNFCCC serving as the interim trustee. How many of these are correct? Now, this is in news with respect to many climate-related disasters in India, specifically the one in Kerala recently. There are news articles about how Kerala government would apply to this fund to get some of the money for its redevelopment purposes. With that in mind, this question is important. First, a minor detail in the first statement is incorrect actually. It was established in 2022 UNFCCC conference, but it was not held in UAE. It was a conference in Egypt. So first statement thus is wrong. Second is true. The fund recognizes both slow onset processes and rising sea levels, apart from extreme weather instances. And the third statement is wrong. The interim trustee of this fund is not UNFCCC but the World Bank. There are also concerns about that because as the interim trustee, World Bank will also obviously take a fees for that particular role. So some money will go to their coffers as well. The answer thus here is A. Out of the three given statements, only one is correct. That is the second one. First and third are wrong. This is the article in the Hindu newspaper today about Loss and Damage Fund. To end the session again, I have an important infographic. Today I wanted to share with you one of the most important initiatives by the Ministry of Women and Child Development with respect to women rights in India. That is the She Box. This is a sexual harassment complaint portal where women all around the country can file complaints. This is the process to file the complaint. You don't have to remember the entire process, but whenever there is a question about National Women Commission, their initiatives, or what is it that the government is doing, She Box is a good example to quote here. This is how you can file a complaint on the She Box. It is an initiative of the Ministry of Women and Child Development. This brings us to the end of the session for the day. I hope you learned something new. If you did, do hit the like button. I'll see you tomorrow for the next one. Bye bye. Take care of yourself. Jai Hind.